our traditional barbecue in Cyprus. And it is called Thieves Kebab. We call it leftigo.
Leftigo, yes.
Yes. And in Turkish we call it hırsız kebab. Anyway, Thieves Kebab. And this is what we are going to serve you today. And it is reckoned that it is the best way of assessing the true taste of Cyprus native lamb. And I'm going to tell you the history behind it. All right. In old times, when people were very poor in Cyprus, they used to steal animal from the neighboring herd, goat or lamb. And these animal rustlers, they made their way, they found their way, and they made a good living out of it. And they were respected people. And people of the rural areas, they used to prefer to give them their daughters, to marry them, because they were well off than the rest of the public. And they carried on what they have been doing for a very long time. And when the Ottomans came to the island, they started stopping this dirty habit, and they started punishing them well. But they carried on what they have been doing without taking any notice. And later on, the Ottomans started hanging them in the middle of the public, middle of the town, if they repeated that. And the thieves, they were very smart. They found another way of stealing the animal again, the goat or the lamb, in a way that nobody witnessed anything to it at all. And they discovered this. They started doing this way. The animal that they have stolen from the neighboring herd. Anyway, what they did was, before they stole the animal, they made a hole, preparing that it was intended for another purpose, away from the site, of course. They used to make a good fire inside using carob wood, because carob is a kind of wood that it adds extra flavor to the barbecue.
Keracha.
Yes, and even to this date, people prefer using carob for their barbecues in Cyprus. And they used to mature the well until it changed color into white, and that was the indication that it absorbed enough heat to later on cook the whole carcass of lamb or the goat. Then they made sure that nobody's behind them. Then they went to the herd. They stole the goat. They slaughtered it there. They skinned it very quickly, and they brought it to the side, making sure that nobody's behind them. And they hung the whole lamb
The pit.
into the well by inserting a juniper stick, because juniper is another kind of bush that gives a nice flavor to the barbecue as well. They inserted a juniper bush through the hind legs of the animal, and they placed the stick crosswise over the mouth of the well. They lowered the carcass inside, and immediately they sealed it with a heavy stone, and further they sealed it with the mud to protect themselves, not being seen by anybody else, because if there was any smoke, it could give them away and probably got punished or hanged. Anyway, another purpose of having to seal it properly is, if you don't seal it properly, it doesn't cook the barbecue, the lamb, the stolen lamb, into a nice golden crispy color. Rather, it cremates it if there is a leakage. So for the both purpose, it had to be properly sealed. And of course, they used to camouflage it as well. So if any shepherd passed by mistake, they wouldn't know that one of their sheep is being cooked beneath their leg. Okay?
Yes.
It was very sealed, and this is Thieves Kebab, the way they used to cook the stolen goat. Before they sealed it, they used to put some herbs in it. Anything they could come across in the wild, like juniper, bay leaf, tarragon, thyme, rosemary, all put in to give it a better flavor. Of course, as I mentioned before, the Cyprus lamb is famous and it is tasty variety. It's a tasty variety itself. You wouldn't find it in other parts of the world, this region actually. It is famous and it's still to protect the farmers. We don't import any live, any meat, unprocessed meat from outside world. It's still the same species that they used to all taste. We have to use now. We use now. Yes. It took them about 5-6 hours to mature the oven beforehand, and the same length to cook the oven under a slow heat. And during this process, the excess fat on the lamb or the goat drips down, leaving the meat crispy but never too dry. And it, as I mentioned, it turns it into a nice golden crispy color, and it is the best form of assessing the Cyprus lamb. You will see yourself when I share you one each. Anyway, this is the only point in the whole of Cyprus that the old tradition is repeated. We do everything the same as our great-great-grandfather, he was one of them, used to do it. And he managed to escape the law with lots of money.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him.
Anyway, we use the same thing from the scratch actually, except the meat is not stolen and not in a carcass form. We have shoulder of young lamb, ribs and neck for you as well. We are going to serve you a combination of each. And it takes us about 5-6 hours to mature the oven. And once we load it and put the herbs in it, I think we have juniper, bay leaf and tarragon inside, fresh. It takes us another 5 or 6 hours to come to this point at this very moment.
What about the potato and the onions?
And for a change, thank you, we have potatoes and onions that we place in the bottom in their skin. So the purities drips down this time and absorbed by the potatoes and onions. You will see while tasting your potato and onion together with your meat, okay, that it has the taste of the lamb. And now,
Can I ask one question?
yes sir,
Can you show us the receipt for buying the lamb?
if I show you the receipt,
It will scare me.
you will say that you should have doubled the prices. Yes,
Very good. Ignore the question.
yes, for him. Oh!
Wow.
Yeah.
Bell'amore.
It's cooked under a slow heat from inside out. So once you pull the bone, it should easily come off. Okay? Ribs. Söyleyeyim mi tespini yaz?